Unbelievable! Incredible! Unbelievable!
Save! And Falco are champions!
It doesn't get any better than that. According to the heads of the UPSL Northeast region, East Coast Football Club presented some of the best players and even coaching across the conference in its most recent match day. 4 of the latest Northeast American North Conference Team of the Week members had worn East Coast jerseys, and the icing on the cake is that Jorge Gonzalez, who spearheads the East Coast training staff, was labeled as the conference's top coach of the week. So the visiting representatives from Long Island South Shore may have the momentum, I should say, to find some points here in this bout, in this part of Long Island. However, as much as those points are desperately needed, all eyes will be on the front line as it attempts to overwhelm the near impervious backline of New York Renegades Football Club. Of course, taking into account that there's currently a 6-point gap between New York Renegades' second place and, of course, the always coveted first place. The Renegades are well aware that no more points can be dropped, especially at this mid-season stage. As behind the camera is Roberto Estrada, I am Sean Cabrera, and this is the United Premier Soccer League on Game in Frame. Again, we'll bring to you live the standings just one more time here with the concurrent updates as well, given that just moments ago, Red Hook was able to find a draw. So New York Braveheart Soccer Club still sits atop the leaderboard here with 16 points. After them, we do find New York Empire FC, both teams participating in a hard-fought draw. So again, New York Empire FC has 14 points. New York Renegades FC, having only completed 4 matches so far in this campaign, has 10 points. So there's a 6-point gap as aforementioned. However, nothing is impossible to come back from, especially with this New York Renegades FC squad that has yet to play 2 more games compared to some of the members here in the UPSL Northeast American North Conference. Following Renegades is Brooklyn FC 2 with 6 points according to the live standings. Afterward, Red Hook FC closed the gap earlier with a draw. So Red Hook FC currently has 4 points, still resides in 5th, however. With 3 points is Future Soccer Academy. Likewise, in 7th place is Academias Barcelona SC. And likewise, with Academias Barcelona SC, they have 2 points to their name, likewise following a draw. And in last place for now, we do find East Coast FC according to the live standings in the UPSL. That being said, however, 3 points here would shoot up, hypothetically, East Coast FC to 5th place, which is not too far away from what you're seeing on your screen, the Northeast playoffs. Again, the top 4 teams of both conferences, the Northern Subconference and the Southern Subconference, would go head-to-head. As we could also go over the rosters here for New York Renegades FC as well as East Coast FC, starting first with the home side. Starting in goal, we do find Eric Edwards. On the left-hand side, Cristian Garcia will be defending that flank of his back line. Likewise, there will be a center-back duo of Samuel Cáceres alongside O.J. Bedward. Defending that right flank will be Francisco, or as he's also known, Pacha Flores. Playing the 6th role or CDM role, we find Milton Campos. Likewise, he has 2 center midfielders in front of him, Oscar Rivas, also known as Toldo, as well as Cameron Beal. On the left wing, we're able to find Dylan Woods. On the right-hand side, however, complementing the front line is Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, who last saw the scoreboard as well against that Empire draw between those two sides. And completing the starting 11 here is the number 9 himself, Ramses Reneao, El Toro, the very feared number 9, not only in this conference, but across the entire nation. Again, he was amongst the leading goal scorers. In fact, he was the leading goal scorer in the entire UPSL. Likewise, for East Coast FC, we'll see the likes of Mejia in goal, Dennis Mejia more specifically. Adrian Palomares Romero will likewise defend his right-hand side. Morales plays as a center back alongside Barrera. Yanez likewise defends on the left flank. A trio of midfielders surrounds them as Goicochea, Castro, and Hernandez from right to left will be filling in those specific niches. Velázquez likewise filling in that center attacking midfield role. And we will have a striker duo consisting of Vélez as well as Jory Garcia, who currently is amongst the leading goal scorers in the conference itself. As all 22 starters get themselves aligned right here on the touchline on the far hand side as the sun slowly sets here in this part of Long Island with a favorable temperature of 66 degrees Fahrenheit in central Islip, partly cloudy. So far, little to no wind, winds of 6 miles per hour, gusts of up to 12, so not game changing, but it does make for a very pleasant Sunday here. And of course, this broadcast itself wouldn't be possible without the help of Salt Athletic. Salt Athletic has made the Aircase the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag that blocks smell by using antimicrobial technology that makes for odor-free car rides and houses. Salt Athletic is offering the Game and Frame community an exclusive discount, so scan the QR code on your screen to get 10% off and keep it fresh. As the American National Anthem is played in the background here in this venue in Long Island, New York. As now some of the local fans here as well starting to make their appearance as well as noise here. And because we have reached the halfway point of the 2025 spring regular season, these 3 points are especially crucial for both teams since they can affect their respective forms and situations for the remainder of their corresponding campaigns. Although one should always live in the present, as the adage goes, one cannot deny that 3 points from this match would help fuel the Renegades Flames next week when they encounter the current table topper New York Braveheart SC in what could very well be a title decider. Meanwhile, for tonight's away side, East Coast FC, 3 points could possibly elevate this team from its bottom of the table standing and maybe even motivate a late season drive to become a potential postseason contender. New York Renegades FC in the all-black uniform accompanied by orange and blue details. Eric Edwards, the starting netminder for New York Renegades FC, will be wearing an all-blue kit. Meanwhile, for East Coast FC, it's an all-white uniform accompanied by reddish details. As again, more of the local fans here start to make their presence be known. And in the meanwhile, we do wish a happy Mother's Day to all the important maternal figures in our lives, grandmothers, mothers, aunts as well, caretakers. Again, we wish them a special day. As it will be East Coast FC that starts with the ball at their feet. The referee ensuring everything is in order. As New York Renegades FC takes on East Coast FC in a mid-season UPSL tussle right here on Game in Frame. East Coast gets the ball rolling first. Its backline toying with the sphere already. Currently in possession of the ball is the number 33, Adiel Barrera, the Salvadoran defender, playing it toward his right-hand side. Overlapping him, Anthony Morales, as Anthony Morales, likewise, trusting the footwork of Rafael Castro, the Colombian midfielder. Castro committing the sin. less than a minute into the match. And Castro with a somewhat serious infraction. Coming late to the party. A very late tackle on Dylan Woods, the left winger of New York Renegades FC. As surely now New York Renegades FC can test the back line early here. As he readjusts the ball. That's Cristian Garcia, the Ecuadorian defender, serving it. Toward that first post, just on the edge of the 18-yard box, Samuel Cáceres rushing forward. Jordi Garcia will be his number one target from the defensive standpoint. As he scans over his right shoulder, passing with the left. That's Dylan Woods now in control. Dylan Woods back to O.J. Bedward, colloquially known as the Big 12. At least according to head coach Boris Linares, as Samuel Cáceres, the Paraguayan veteran. Back to Eric Edwards, known for not only his finesse in goal, but also some of his antics perhaps in his own 18-yard box, showing some class with the ball at his feet. Though for now, it's some humble playing from the goalkeeper wearing the number 16, as Eric Edwards plays it back toward Cáceres. Cáceres returns the favor toward his netminder in blue. Right-footed pass toward the left-hand side. O.J. Bedward has Cristian Garcia teasing perhaps that halfway line. Quick pass toward Cameron Beal. Retreating for a moment toward O.J. Bedward. A nice drop of the shoulder as well by Dylan Woods. But in doing so, Dylan Woods had also lost the space for himself. It's a throw-in for East Coast FC. As this one is launched toward the halfway line. Momentarily intercepted by New York Renegades FC. Cáceres. Cáceres passing it toward his right-hand side, Flores, who likewise has etched his name into the scoreboard throughout the overall season. Perhaps most notably against New York Empire FC. Assisting him in that goal was in fact Cáceres, as the assistant referee raises the flag for offside against Ramses Reneau. The Honduran forward, cold-blooded, went in front of goal for now. Making his long-awaited home return, I should say. Cameron Beal able to take it away momentarily, as Ariel Barrera nearly giving away the ball in a very dangerous spot. Great recovery of the ball by the number 22, Castro. The ball continues to ricochet around as Toldo Rivas, unable to fully hold on to the ball. East Coast FC threatening that right-hand side, testing the footwork perhaps of Cristian Garcia. Cross toward that first post, now toward the back post. Cáceres with a desperate touch to clear it. And the opening corner kick of this game belongs to East Coast Football Club. Officially in the 4th minute mark here. Opening corner kick, again, belonging to East Coast FC, who is looking to stun the home side. New York Renegades FC rarely knows what it's like to be behind in the scoreline, let alone so early. This one served toward that back post. A lot of chaos inside the 18-yard box, and perhaps a fortunate touch goes in favor of East Coast FC. Driven, blocked, a second chance. The players in white inside the penalty area. Left-footed shot toward the near post. Goalkeeper got a touch to it. Quick reflexes from Eric Edwards. And a respectable shot as well by the midfielder of East Coast FC. Four East Coast members were part of the Team of the Week most recently. As he stands over the ball. Bustamante Castillo, wearing the number 17, serving it. Still an East Coast ball, as he's forced into an uncomfortable spot. Goicoechea retreating toward Anthony Morales. Anthony Morales to Barrera. And I believe for the first time today, Mejia is getting his initial touches. Mejia going toward the safest option in the form of Adiel Barrera. Mejia launching this one way up top, Samuel Cáceres, with nobody pressing him on that aerial duel. One with no competition, in other words, as East Coast FC takes advantage of that header. Goicoechea trying to prance his way between defenders, and unfortunately for him, it goes out for a throw in favor of New York Renegades FC. Rances. As O.J. Bedward plays it toward his Jamaican goalkeeper, Eric Edwards. Eric Edwards with a lovely pass along that right wing. This kid turned into an assist here as New York Renegades FC is denied by Mejia. Eric Edwards for a moment thought he had an assist. Would have been an assist from over 70 yards. But that's good reaction time as well by Mejia. Closing down the space, blocking with his legs essentially. Denying specifically Angelo Puerto Quintanilla a goal-scoring opportunity. East Coast, left-footed pass. Some collision there, no foul, says the referee. As Pacha might have gotten a gratuitous touch on the sliding Gabriel Bustamante Castillo. Played forward by East Coast FC shortly before retreating toward the back line. Playing what's described on paper as a 4-3-1-2. It is a defensive formation that prioritizes possession perhaps in the middle third more than anything else. As the ball continues to skip around, East Coast FC able to control it. Not lost, however. Good recovery by Rafael Castro, likewise displaying immense concentration. Switching the play from the left-hand side to the right, hoping that Adrian Palomares Romero could have recovered it. Still with East Coast FC, still alive. Still along that right flank, as now it's just practically teasing the corner kick flag itself. Does roll out of bounds for a throw-in in favor of New York Renegades FC. A throw-in from a very tight angle. However, with the 4-3-1-2 formation currently being sported by East Coast FC, it doesn't really allow for such priority in the final third. That is from the defensive standpoint. As that header is won by Toldo Rivas. Toldo Rivas toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Angelo inside the 18-yard box. Angelo forced to dribble it out wide. Mejia with a simple save. But one cannot deny the presence of Anthony Morales, applying a lot of pressure to the New York Renegades number 11. Two chances as well for Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Denied on both. Both shots going on target, however. So two saves from Mejia so far. Lovely ball, Jordi Garcia inside the 18-yard box. Feinting one way, going the other, left-footed push, and eventually goes out for yet another corner kick, the second in this game, the second for East Coast FC. Officially in the 9th minute here, as we await an outward swinger, left-footed, judging by his stance, both arms raised above his head. Swerving toward that back post. Way too much curl behind it, however. East Coast FC should maintain its awareness here. A counterattack could be halted, as that one bounces off the torso of Yanez, who's brought down. The first foul committed by New York Renegades FC in this game, only the second in total within these opening 10 minutes. So not a bad start when it comes to discipline. Played quickly and played backwards toward Castro, as Velázquez is forced to play toward Barrera. Adiel Barrera, the Salvadoran defender, once more on sweeping duty. A good first touch that's easily overridden by New York Renegades FC. It looked like a decent breakaway for Milton Campos, the CDM for today, but here's a breakaway for East Coast FC. The players in white dispossessed, punished by Francisco Flores and his impeding right foot, as Dylan Woods along the left wing can retreat toward Christian Garcia. Instead, toward another option as Toldo Rivas on the edge of the penalty area. Mejia, third save of this game so far. So Renegades with a 100% success rate when we're talking about shots to shots on target, a 1-to-1 ratio, or more accurately a 3-to-3 overall ratio. 3 Mejia saves required. This one booted up high. Christian Garcia winning the aerial duel. Battle in the middle third. Battle for now won by East Coast FC as they threaten that left-hand side with Yanez. Zonal marking on display by New York Renegades FC. Quick 1-2, denied once more by Toldo Rivas. Good 1-2s as well. As Palomares Romero being tested momentarily. Rances Reneau unable to get a touch on the ball for now. Was last seen being called offside. A quiet start for the number 9. Making his long-awaited home return, as he had been recovering from an injury not too long ago. East Coast across toward that far post. Didn't threaten Eric Edwards directly, though there's still a second chance. Intercepted, well read by Pacha Flores. As Pacha turns himself into an extra right winger, and a pass that is way too ambitious. It allows for an easy interception in favor of Anthony Morales. Mejia playing it toward the nearest center back in the form of Barrera. Castro dropping back just a tad. Quick plays by East Coast FC. Moving with a lot of determination as well. Playing with a good sense of confidence against New York Renegades FC, which is no easy task, especially when you're the away side. Yet they're holding their weight here. Free kick played quickly from that offside call. Toldo Rivas toward Francisco Flores. Pacha pushing forward inside the penalty area now. Denied by 2 defensive interferences. Last ricocheting off Barrera, or so I thought. The referee deems it a goal kick. Barrera as well as Yanez both had to get involved. There's a reason why Flores can overlap so well. He does have that creativity, let alone pace. And if you give him enough space as well, could turn into a lethal punishment as Mejia gets his team ready for a goal kick. Mejia, the guardian between the sticks for today, wearing pink top, black shorts, and black socks, with a decent goal kick beyond the halfway line. It's a throw-in now for New York Renegades FC. As the referee signals advantage here, Cameron Beal. Lateral play. Pacha toward that right wing, looking at Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. In the enemy third, crossing it with the left foot. Cameron Beal, fancy flick. Well read by East Coast FC. Could have been a dangerous moment as Samuel Cáceres passes it with his chest toward Toldo Rivas. Cáceres toward Beal. Cameron Beal with a fortunate touch, looking for an assist. Well denied by East Coast FC. Clearance blocked. The Paraguayan brought down, and it's a foul in favor of New York Renegades FC. A free kick from, give or take, 25 yards away from goal. As now East Coast FC has to assemble a wall here, Mejia specifically, adjusting said wall. Cáceres does have a history of some killer deliveries. You don't get to often see him go for goal from these sorts of opportunities. As Cáceres, in fact, won't be taking the set piece. It appears to be the duty of either Angelo Puerto Quintanilla or Ramsés Reneao. Angelo with the curl, Ramsés with the lethality. It will be Angelo Puerto Quintanilla as it hits the barrier for a corner kick. So corner kick for Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, the first of its kind for New York Renegades FC. As Angelo opts to take it. Currently 6 black jerseys inside the penalty area. So not too much traffic in reality. Of the 10 outfielders of East Coast FC, 8 of them inside the 18-yard box. 2 toward that near post, in fact. This one soaring above everybody's head, Ramsés. Accelerating toward the sphere. Ramsés wrestling for the ball, dispossessed momentarily. As the ball goes out of play in favor of New York Renegades FC to the surprise of the training staff of East Coast FC. Played back all the way to O.J. Bedward, the Big 12. One of 2 center backs for New York Renegades FC with 1 step over, 2 step overs, as well as a body feint. Bedward shaking off the pressure of Vélez of East Coast FC. Johan Vélez. Not colliding to the ball. Not crashing toward it. Intercepted, well taken by East Coast as Junior Velázquez was the initial ball winner. His number 10 in charge of pushing it forward. Jordi Garcia forced into an uncomfortable spot, and it's another throw-in for New York Renegades FC from its own third. Three shots on target from an attempted 4 for New York Renegades FC. For now, no official shot, I should say actually 1 official shot attempted, 1 official shot on target by East Coast FC, which required an Eric Edwards near post save going toward his right bottom corner as the East Coast FC player is back up on his own 2 feet. So offensively, East Coast FC is looking for a response for now, being outshot, but not by much. Ramsés dropping back. Great interception by East Coast FC. 2 sliding challenges turning into a pass as well. Somehow it worked. Now at the feet of Goicoechea. As Jan Sebastián Goicoechea, unable to retain the ball at his own 2 feet, goes out for a throw-in. New York Renegades FC taking advantage of the flanks. Cameron Beal, normally playing as a center attacking midfielder, dropping all the way back, filling in the gap perhaps left by Milton Campos, who can sometimes play as an aggressive 6, as this one is crossed toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Quintanilla unable to get to the ball thanks to Mejia's collection as he rolls it out toward the nearest white jersey. A proactive roll, followed by Barrera's pass toward the right-hand side. Lobbed forward, East Coast. Jordi Garcia would have been offside, hence why he didn't run for it. As now, New York Renegades FC can restart the play in live action, of course, from Eric Edwards' feet to O.J. Bedward. O.J. Bedward to Cristian Garcia. Campos. Milton Campos forcing a pass to Ramsés Reneao, who gave a gratuitous kick there. momentarily losing his cool. And we do know that these games can lead to some chippiness. It's happened earlier before for East Coast this season. Sometimes that aggressive drive on the field can translate, unfortunately, to aggressive moments outside the game itself. East Coast FC, for now, keeping a cool head. This one, driven past the back line, driven past the boundary, in fact, goes out for a goal kick. And in the meanwhile, on the bench for New York Renegades FC, we could find the likes of Giancarlo Perez, alongside Henry Martinez, Yo-Yo Alexander, most notably Junior Rosero, Mauricio Puerto, Jonathan Silveria, as well as Rodrigo Descalzo Roca and Jason Solano Green. Silveria and Junior Rosero surely will be important offensive changes. We'll see as the game progresses. Good 1-2s as East Coast FC emerges in the enemy half. Poked forward. A little too easy for OJ Bedward. Toldo Rivas being pressured by Velasquez. Garcia. Once more it's Velasquez, Junior Velasquez, trying to take the ball away from his opponent. Eric Edwards, no fancy show for now. A simple pass toward Cáceres that wins him enough space, lobbing it toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Mejia, still inside his 6-yard box. Oh, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, assist! Goal! Rances! His first home goal in quite a while. Long awaited as the number 9 dances. 1-0 in favor of New York Renegades FC. Samuel Cáceres with the lob, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla with the shot gone cross, and of course Rances with the finish with the goal. 1-0 in favor of the home side in black. Now perhaps Mejia could have closed down the angle. Had he closed the angle, perhaps Angelo Puerto Quintanilla would have forced a shot, or would have forced any sort of ball playing, as East Coast FC looks for a response. Samuel Cáceres implementing the shoulder. Ball goes out of bounds. Physical tussle turns into a New York Renegades throw-in. So in having played a little more conservatively, that allowed Angelo to get an assist. Of course, speaking from the goalkeeper's perspective, it's always an uncomfortable moment. One can never be caught in no man's land. That's not to say that he was, of course, Mejia. Just one of those moments where two different schools of thought collide. Some will tell you to play more conservatively, as aforementioned. Others will tell you to play more aggressively. In these sorts of situations, or in those sorts of situations, I'm more of a fan of the latter. Cuts down the angle, forces a mistake perhaps. We had already seen Angelo Puerto Quintanilla with 2 shots on target, one of which resulted in an easy save for the number 1 of East Coast FC. So again, it's Rances with the goal, 1-0, Renegades with the ball at their feet. Throw-in taken by East Coast FC, Jory Garcia, who's amongst the conference's top goal scorers, as that's an extra touch and it results in a booking against East Coast FC. In the eyes of the arbitrator, it was needless. And once again, we're starting to see the aggressive playing style of East Coast FC, as it was Goicoechea who received the yellow card. Cáceres evades one challenge. Toldo Rivas, as Pacha Flores encounters a very strong tackle. by Yanez. New York Renegades FC trying to close down that 6-point gap between itself and first place. Renegades currently in third place. Earlier I had said second, but that was prior to the update, of course. So again, New York Renegades FC in third place with 10 points. Before this match, that is. New York Braveheart SC in first with 16. New York Empire FC with 14 in second. However, New York Renegades FC has yet to complete 6 matches. This is just its 5th, unfolding right before us as Cameron Beal receives a killer pass into the 18-yard box, crossed Mejia. Luckily has a defender right in front of him as Angelo Puerto Quintanillo with 1 goal contribution, looking for another, and that's a shot that goes well wide, looking for the curl, but instead it goes well out of bounds. In fact, it never made its way toward the goal. Throw-in taken by East Coast FC, flicking it over Toldo Rivas, though not for long. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla chasing that ball. Cáceres with a monstrous clearance as Milton Campos. Played for now toward Christian Garcia. Dylan Woods with not too many touches on the ball for now. In fact, it's been a Renegades party along the right wing, as that's a solid challenge from Yanez, getting the ball first. His opponent tripping over the ball and sliding challenge as Rances held onto the arm of his opponent. Clear foul. East Coast FC currently playing from a 1-goal deficit here. Rances Renegades with the goal itself. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla with the assist. And if you're a fan of pre-assists, as some do label it, it would belong to Samuel Cáceres. In fact, I believe in MLS, the pass before the assist itself is also considered an assist, akin to hockey as well as basketball. As another foul is called against New York Renegades FC. Aggressive shoulder holding by, I believe, Cameron Beal. It's gotten just a touch colder here. It started at 66 degrees Fahrenheit in Central Iceland, currently 64 degrees Fahrenheit. That being said, the winds have calmed down from its already almost non-present state. Winds of 5 miles per hour, gusts of up to 11. It started at 6 miles per hour and 12 miles per hour respectively in those categories. This one launched toward the right wing. Yanez merely had to steer it away. And of course, do stay tuned for halftime where we present the fresh plays of the month as New York Renegades FC cuts down what could have been an East Coast counter. Transition from the middle third to the final third, interrupted by a foul, surely interrupted by a booking as well. It was Dylan Woods who had drawn the foul. And Dylan Woods is playing almost a more central position compared to his left wing role on paper. As Jory Garcia pokes the ball away, the referee scolding the previously stated number 10. As Toldo Rivas has Samuel Cáceres toward the right-hand side. Toldo with maybe a more aggressive response here, or so we thought. Dropping it back toward Milton Campos, now toward Cáceres. Cáceres lobbing this one toward Rances. Ball continues to bounce around the 18-yard box territory. Jory Garcia. Luckily for him, the ball is still in his grasp, at his feet. Garcia, dispossessed by Toldo Rivas as New York Renegades FC. Unable to keep the ball live and to itself. It's a throw-in for East Coast. As an East Coast player is down on the ground. And perhaps the training staff needs to check out this player. Or so we thought. Though he does go toward the sideline. So in the Northeast American North Conference, the latest team of the week included Adrián Palomares Romero, as well as Adiel Barrera, Gabriel Bustamente, according to the UPSL written online, Bustamente Castillo, as well as Jory Garcia. And the head coach of the week was, of course, Jorge Gonzalez. Eric Edwards, lobbing this one in the vicinity of Flores. Ultimately touched last by Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. That should be a throw-in for East Coast FC, and the assistant referee does agree with that. It was Angelo Puerto Quintanilla who was unable to control it with the inner part of his left lap whilst he was soaring in the air, more or less. East Coast. As half an hour has gone by in this fixture, roughly a quarter hour remains in this first half. East Coast. Quick passes, that could be a foul. Referee says no. The two players had collided as O.J. Bedward goes down. We are at the 32nd minute mark. We had only seen 2 fouls at the first start. I should say at the start of the 10-minute mark. Only 2 fouls had occurred, and since then, it's been somewhat of a shower. Likewise, we have already seen 2 bookings, both of which have gone against East Coast FC. East Coast looking for a defensive response now as New York Renegades FC inside the 18-yard box. It's cleared away by a sliding Barrera, if I'm not mistaken, or perhaps Yanez, now to look at his short number. 19, not 33. Cáceres, the South American, interrupted by the East Coast number 7, Joseph Lopez. Pacha. With time to think about this choice, launches it toward Rances. Rances looking for the foul, instead evades 2 with a fancy pass of his own. Cáceres chipping it. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla giving away the ball. Angelo looking to recover it. Instead, it's Tordo Rivas playing farther up in the field. Cameron Beal likewise almost filling in that extra striker role. Dylan Woods dropping back as Christian Garcia moves forward. East Coast FC trying to keep this ball to itself. Eric Edwards does retrieve the ball, but at the end, it should be a throw-in for the visiting side. As pink clouds surround this Long Island venue as the sun begins to set. Slightly dangerous pass as Barrera plays it forward. Tackled as well by Samuel Cáceres. A tackle gone past. Referee sees it as a high kicking infraction. And according to what the player is holding, one could only presume that the extended knee of the East Coast player had crashed into the Renegade's stomach. Unintentional. Not worthy of a booking. We're about to approach the final 10 minutes in this first half. Still a low-scoring game, still anybody's game, in fact. Only one goal separates bottom of the table East Coast FC from third place New York Renegades FC. Again, East Coast FC with 1 point to its name for now. The acquisition of 3 today could potentially launch East Coast FC all the way up to 5th. It's not an impossibility. Cáceres, with his first touch, gives it away. Lopez, unable to keep the ball alive. Just a matter of concentration there. Throw in for Pachaflores and co. Rances, the number 9, distributing it toward Cameron Beal as Cameron Beal plays it toward Pacha. And that's a cross that Mejia would love to intercept all day. It was veering off target anyway, but Mejia decided to keep it alive. East Coast FC looking for a sudden swing of inertia. It does have one shot on target, the team. As asking for the pass is Yanez, hoping for a switch play. He has a lot of space on his left-hand side. The switch play surely should be coming soon. And at the end, it's really slow build-up rather than an immediate change. Barrera toward Morales. Or pardon me, Castro. That's Rafael Castro. Number 22, not 2. As the ball goes out of play, Jory Garcia showing signs of frustration for a moment. Beal. Back to Eric Edwards. The Jamaican goalkeeper. It appears that there's an equipment change, in fact. As now New York Renegades FC opts to burn some time. However, in this occurring, it turns into a moment of possession for East Coast FC. Throw-in taken. All the way back to Eric Edwards, however, as he steers it out of bounds. Goal kick for Renegades. Head coach Boris Linares must be satisfied for now with how his players are performing. But a 1-goal lead is easily surmountable. As Beal receives the pass from Cáceres. Beal. Quick switch. Slicing through the air. As Dylan Woods was hoping that Milton Campos could have connected. Instead, Milton Campos with Tordo Rivas loses the ball. East Coast FC wins the throw-in. Within the final 8-minute mark here, as Mejia tries to orchestrate a fast build-up here, telling his teammate as to where that ball should go. A good vocal goalkeeper. Back-to-back throw-ins for East Coast FC. Booted forward by New York Renegades FC. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla wasting no time lobbing that one toward Rances. Rances wrestling for the ball. 1 step over, 2 step overs. Passing with that right foot, looking for a killer touch. And unfortunately for him, no assist for now as Cameron Beal lobs it. Second chance. Rances was already offside. Redirecting that ball with his right temple. Hitting off the crossbar. Not a bad attempt from the number 9 whatsoever. Just had to time his run was all. The adrenaline perhaps getting to the number 9. Perhaps salivating at the thought of yet another goal upon his home return. That is, as a starter, Joseph Lopez. Lopez. Flores. poked the ball away from him. Joseph returned the favor. Back to Mejia, who has Rances pressuring him. Mejia toward Joseph Lopez. Flores winning the aerial duel. Punched forward. That ball's still in play. Oh, hold on a moment. The assistant referee disagrees with that. And I must say, I disagree with it as well. I disagree with his disagreement, in other words. That ball was still in play. 100% of that ball was not out. The assistant referee saw it otherwise. And perhaps New York Renegades FC was saved by the whistle there. Could have been a counterattack for the players in white. Barrera to Joseph, the number 7. Currently boxed inside by 3 black jerseys. Triangle defending, in other words. Final 5 minutes here in this first half. New York Renegades FC. A fancy pass as well by Dylan Woods into the penalty area. Dealt with by East Coast FC, who has in fact brought some away side spectators here. Pushing forward, through pass, Jordi Garcia, the initial target, as well as Joseph Lopez, a clearance, Jordi Garcia in front of goal, left-footed, Eric Edwards denies him, another chance, Jordi Garcia, once more, goal! East Coast! Jordi Garcia denied twice, but East Coast, upon its 3rd chance in that short sequence, equalizes the game. It is 1-1 here in this part of Long Island, New York. Just moments ago, we were talking about how a 1-goal lead is easily surmountable, and the away side finds an equalizer. It finds a goal against one of the best defensive units in the entire UPSL, let alone this conference. Toldo Rivas, now in charge of looking for another goal contribution. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, not turning on the afterburners in time. Mejia can collect. As Mejia takes his time before catapulting this one toward his right-hand side. East Coast, waiting for that sudden swing and momentum, and that's a nasty, nasty tackle. Not only was it a tackle from behind, but on top of that, the player landed on top of the ball. As that player's still down on the ground. Again, the scoreline is 1-1. Just moments ago, East Coast FC took advantage of a blocked clearance, of course, which resulted in 2 Jordi Garcia shots. Eric Edwards got his palm to both of them. However, upon the 3rd opportunity, in just that short sequence, East Coast was able to find the back of the net with immense thunder. As the home side spectators begin to make some noise here, trying to motivate the defense, of course, of New York Renegades FC, as Toldo Rivas is unable to intercept Flores, giving it right back to Barrera. Back to Barrera. As Yanez is begging for the ball, looking for that space on the left-hand side. Flores allowing a lot of space there for now, though he is fast enough to catch up to that ball. Very few players as fast as Flores. As Angelo Puerto Quintanilla open on the right-hand side. It's still with New York Renegades FC, crossing it toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Denied for now. Another opportunity. Blocked once more. It's now Pacha Flores. Pacha. His cross blocked. Cáceres. East Coast FC with 2 back-to-back blocked crosses. And I must say, the team in white has delivered quite a response here. On paper, East Coast FC was second when it came to shots attempted, as that ball ricocheted off Joseph Lopez last. Toldo Rivas. Toldo toward the feet of Milton Campos, filling in that 6th role. East Coast FC looking to generate something here. We'll take a mastercraft at that. Would have been a 2-on-4, if not 3 counterattack at best. As there's a pause here in the game. Play resumes. And now Boris Linares, assuming the scoreline remains the same, must answer some questions when it comes to some offensive substitutions. Cáceres pushing it forward, going for a trek, going for a roam, in fact, as Ángelo Puerto Quintanilla with a final touch that's way too strong. As the referee momentarily took a look at his clock, or his watch, I should say. And just like that, that will be the final touch of the ball here in this first half. A first half that's seen 2 goals, 1 apiece from these 2 sides. It is New York Renegades Football Club 1, thanks to Ramses Renau. And it is also East Coast Football Club 1, thanks to Jorge Garcia, whose blocked or saved shots fortunately turned into a rebound to equalize it all. Again, 1-1 here is the scoreline in Long Island, New York. However, do stay tuned for some fresh plays of the month, halftime analysis, and of course the second set of 45 minutes here in the UPSL on Game in Frame.
Quick release for Hernandez. You know Hernandez is going to get there. Got some work to do. It's one man taking on an army, and it is Hernandez. He took on hell with a squirt gun, and he quenched the flames. Justine Nunez Hernandez, an impressive stamp on the match. There's a shot, and Kazun beats it away again.
About it. They don't want to let this opportunity pass, not equalizing. Fake shot, fake. The third shot, low and a goal! A couple dummies and a low shot makes this game 1-1.
Right side, isn't it? Can he bend it around the wall? He's gone for it, and it's tipped over the crossbar. Lovely fingertip save by Perez. Let's see if it's enough to stop them. Joe Holland. Once again, Perez called into action.
Now trot, cross.
Oh my word! What a goal! What a team goal from New York International!
Back to the captain with a lot of space. Crossed inside, using his chest. Aristotle Zazulin to the rescue! As now his defensive expertise put to the test. Diaz trying to shield the ball away from Diallo. Diallo squeezing past. Still with the assist! Goal! South Bronx United!
The ball is back into play. Beautiful work, Winder with the nutmeg. Move here. This is Waring again. Waring puts it into the middle. Doggart! Doggart! They can't clear it off the line! Orson Doggart puts the finishing touch.
Shango can't quite keep it. Yo, pick it up. Dangerous area. Malachi with a shot. Beautiful save from the keeper.
Now he's on. Kamara's on sides. Kamara gets around the keeper. This could be it. Good finish. It's 2. That's the final whistle. Polonia seals the deal in the last kick of the game. What an effort there by Kamara.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
A quality highlight reel is crucial for college and pro recruitment. A lot of services offer generic solutions, but at Game & Frame we know every player is unique and needs a personalised approach to win over coaches. Our process is simple. We work with any footage, and if you need help finding your best plays, we'll review games for you. Once we've finished, you'll have a reel you can upload to any recruitment platform. We've helped hundreds of players get the attention they deserve, including placements in Division I programs. Scan the QR code or email us for a free consultation and start the journey to maximize your recruitment potential.
This broadcast has been brought to you by Salt Athletic. Salt Athletic has made the Air Case, the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag that blocks snow by using antimicrobial technology that makes for odor-free car rides and houses. Salt Athletic is offering the Game and Frame community an exclusive discount, so scan the QR code on your screen to get 10% off and keep it fresh. And what a first half we had just seen here in this part of Long Island, New York, and Central Islip, where the scoreline for now is New York Renegades FC 1, East Coast FC 1. Both teams, of course, with their respective keys to the game, so let's jump right in. Starting first with the home side itself, New York Renegades FC. Most of it had actually gone well, despite the, I should say, tied scoreline. Despite what it may indicate, it was New York Renegades FC that tested Mejia and his backline more and more and more in comparison to that of its rivals in white today. That being said, however, it is equal, and to look for a response here, New York Renegades FC must not only continue using those flanks, especially with Angelo Puerto Quintanilla being so lethal, getting an assist and as well registering 2 shots on target, albeit one that was soft toward the gloves of Mejia, but they must start alternating these flanks. Again, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla specifically was assaulting, if not threatening, that right-hand side. But at one point, East Coast FC decided to adapt and weren't necessarily double marking Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, but they did make life a lot tougher for him, as Yanez and Barrera specifically turned into a fearsome duo for the New York Renegades FC number 11. So, of course, with this in mind, New York Renegades FC must start alternating those flanks, using both extremities of the field, not simply driving it up one end. Using that left-hand side, Dylan Woods could get himself an opportunity at goal. If not a favorable cross toward Rances, we'll see how action continues. Not to mention that New York Renegades FC has a lot of big names on the bench currently. Henry Martinez, Yo-Yo Alexander, Junior Rosero, Mauricio Puerto, Jonathan Silveria, as well as Rodrigo Descalzo Roca and Jason Solano Green. And again, when looking specifically at Jonathan Silveria as well as Junior Rosero, those are some offensive changes that are begging to happen, assuming things don't go the Renegades' way. Meanwhile, for the away team that equalized not too long before the first half had ended, East Coast Football Club was able to absorb a lot of damage, not to mention was able to change its play more or less, as aforementioned, with Barrera and Yanez teaming up against Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. That being said, however, one wins this game by goals naturally. That's the name of the game. And they must start delivering more and more attempts. They have to start making Eric Edwards sweat a little bit more. He did have 3 saves in the first half, one of which occurred within the opening 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, was a near post shot that required a one-handed interference. It then happened twice in a row in less than a 5-second span, if I'm not mistaken, upon that double chance by Joey Garcia. 2 great saves, but he couldn't stop the third. Naturally, it was blasted into the back of the net. But East Coast FC must continue delivering those numbers into the final third. It's not going to win too many games, let alone too many moments of goal-scoring chances with just 2-on-4 counters, or 2-on-3 counters at that. The more numbers, the better. Especially with Yanez, for example, running up and down the left-hand side. It could turn into goal-scoring opportunities. So overall, your keys to the game are as follows. For New York Renegades FC, it's to continue using the flanks, but also alternating more the utilization of both sides of the field, both exteriors, particularly that left-hand side. That hasn't been too utilized so far. Meanwhile, for East Coast Football Club, it should really focus on trying to deliver more and more numbers, that is, more white jerseys, into the final third, not to mention attempt more shots as a whole. Again, good critiques to have, especially when the scoreline is tied for now at 1-1 between New York Renegades FC and East Coast FC. As for now, when it comes to the weather, nothing much has changed. 63 degrees Fahrenheit, cloudy in Central Islip. winds of 5 miles per hour, gusts of up to 11. So again, nothing that should affect the game. It should be a pleasant Sunday, or at least Sunday evening, to see this second period of 45 minutes in the UPSL. So again, the second half is not too far away. Roberto Estrada behind the camera. I am Sean Cabrera, and you are watching the United Premier Soccer League on Game in Frame. As all 22 outfield, I should say players, have emerged onto the field. New York Renegades FC, of course, on the bench had Henry Martinez, Yo-Yo Alexander, Junior Rosero, Mauricio Puerto, Jonathan Silveria, Rodrigo Descalzo Roca, and Jason Solano Green. Meanwhile, for East Coast FC, as it will be Rances who gets the ball rolling first for this second half. East Coast FC does have on the bench Giovanni Astaiza alongside Emmanuel Reinaldo Centurion Arismende, Teófilo Chavez, Delwin Hernandez, according to the roster we had here. Anthony Martinez, goalkeeper, of course. Franklin Solarte. And that should be the complete bunch of substitutes here for East Coast FC. We'll see what changes have occurred here. I can only imagine that East Coast FC went into the halftime break with a sense of joy, given that it equalized against the reigning regular season champion of the Northeast American North Conference. Onside, says the assistant referee, as Joseph Lopez tries to poke the ball away from O.J. Bedward. As O.J. Bedward plays it back toward Eric Edwards. Edwards toward Cáceres. Cáceres toward his number 21, Milton Campos. Campos attacking that right-hand side. We talked about how lethal New York Renegades FC can be using the flanks. But when it finds a response like that, East Coast FC defensively, it goes to show why the alternation of utilization of wings here will be very paramount. Again, that right-hand side, if we had a heat map, would be glowing red. That left-hand side, on the other hand, perhaps just fainting a little bit of a yellow. As the first corner kick of this second half belongs to New York Renegades FC. Cross toward that first post, headed away by East Coast FC. A second chance for New York Renegades FC along the ground. A lot of traffic, so much so that it's another corner kick for New York Renegades FC. Two back-to-back corner kicks within these initial, I should say, 2 minutes and 15 seconds, give or take. New York Renegades FC crossing it once more toward that first post. Back post now, Cáceres, denied by Mejia. Mejia with some great reflexes. Not an easy save to make, but the number one does his job. As there will be a change here in set piece taker. This one should be an inward swinger. Mejia should keep an eye on his back post. This one specifically swerving toward the edge of the 18-yard box. Played forward, another opportunity. O.J. Bedward looking to get his name onto the scoreboard. Referee waves away a handball. Now the question is, was the hand in a natural position as Jory Garcia cutting it inward, through pass, read by New York Renegades FC. So the lead referee says it bounced off his shoulder. Other spectators here are saying that it bounced off his hand, and for now only this game in frame replay can confirm what truly happened. But again, even if that is the case, one must ask, was the hand in a natural position? Did he attempt to play the ball with his feet first? These were all questions that were somewhat answered in the Real Madrid-Barcelona game not too long ago. As with one step over, New York Renegades FC is unable to register a shot on target. In fact, it happened with the Frenchman Chouameni, who, according to some, had committed a handball inside the 18-yard box, but upon VAR review, it turns out that his arm was in a natural position as Jory Garcia tries to slide at the feet of Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. So we are seeing an offensive change here. Angelo, dispossessed, played forward, East Coast FC, trying to punch its ticket, looking for another goal here. Scoreline is 1-1, all tied, cleared away. Another chance to the roars of the crowd here. Joseph Lopez brought down a physical challenge as New York Renegades FC using its old reliable, that right wing. Well, perhaps old reliable no more, as Yanez takes the ball away from his opponent. Wasting no time, East Coast FC with some fast transitions Middle third. Should be a foul. Referee says no. At least in the eyes of the East Coast players. As O.J. Bedward. Oh, now that is a questionable foul. Both of the players had gone for a shoulder-to-shoulder charge. O.J. Bedward not on the winning end in that duel, as rare as that occurs, as now some East Coast fans likewise were asking for a card against the Big 12, saying that he had committed no foul, the East Coast player, and that, on the other hand, Bedward had committed a handball. So it's a free kick for New York Renegades FC. Scoreline is 1-1. We are past the 51st minute. Torlo Rivas toward the far post, swerving it. Mejia dove. He dove in the right direction. No touch. Goal kick for the team in white. Played back to the goalkeeper in pink. East Coast trying to play aggressively as the away side in white will have yet another goal kick. Change in personnel, or perhaps in equipment, I should say. An optical illusion. Someone was toward the sideline. We thought he was inching closer to the field of play. It just turns out he was retrieving the ball. Mejia. Adjusting this ball inside his own 6-yard box. Right-footed goal kick, making its way past the halfway line. Cleared forward by Christian Garcia. So now perhaps both right wings being heavily implemented. Christian Garcia winning 2 balls up in the air. Joseph Lopez trying to play it back toward his number 17 as he's brought down. No doubt about the foul. It will be a set piece from give or take 10 yards in front of the halfway line, maybe even closer. Make that perhaps 5 now that I think about it. As the free kick is played quickly, headed away by Pacha Flores. It was New York Renegades FC that took the lead 1-0 thanks to Rances completing an Angelo shotgun cross. East Coast FC with its first shot in this second half and its first shot on target. Toward the torso of Eric Edwards, who punts this ball toward the right-hand side. Handball infraction against East Coast FC. Another free kick for New York Renegades Football Club, coached today by Boris Linares. Christian. From Ecuador to Colombia, from Christian Garcia to Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. Sebastián giving away the ball uncharacteristically. Lack of communication there perhaps, as surely that could result in a booking. Was sure to break away. It was Goicoechea who found the space, the number 32, brought down, and it's a yellow card against New York Renegades FC. As looking for the switch play here on the right-hand side, driven as well, but perhaps too driven. It's technically another shot on target. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt there in terms of stats. As Cameron Beal can take advantage of that loose ball, Mejia can collect it. Mejia. In the middle third it goes. Scoreline still 1-1. From the left-hand side, played down the middle more or less. O.J. Bedward playing it toward a nearby midfielder. That should be a foul. Referee signals advantage. That's good arbitration right there. As New York Renegades FC building up the play from the right-hand side. Still advantage. New York Renegades FC. An unfortunate touch. Sebastian! As another East Coast player is booked. 3 yellow cards against the away team. 1 against the home side. Good refereeing, issuing the delayed yellow card, allowing for advantage to ensue. Unfortunately for New York Renegades FC, it doesn't result in a shot on target. In fact, it's Sebastian Restrepo's first shot in this game, given that he just entered the game about 10 minutes ago. Launched toward the left-hand side. Still in play. Bouncing around. Handball in favor of East Coast FC. As now the New York Renegade himself, Torlo Rivas, tries to argue his case, claiming that the ball was played off his knee onto his hand, therefore not a handball. East Coast. Joseph Lopez with some interference from Christian Garcia. Christian Garcia is still down on the ground, and that's not a good sign at all. Slow to get up. With a small limp, but he's back in action. With Christian Garcia gone, that would not only affect New York Renegades FC defensively, but most importantly, offensively. Garcia somehow retains the ball, playing it toward Cameron Beal. Beal switching the play, lovely pass as well, using the extremities of the field. That right exterior. That is for New York Renegades FC, currently being used, lobbed by Samuel Cáceres. And out of play, goal kick for Mejia and company. So again, both teams, naturally as any game, looking for the spoil of 3 points, but they do mean different things, I suppose, for these two sides. For East Coast FC, it means advancing from its bottom of the table standings. In other words, East Coast FC resides in 8th place at this moment with just a single point. Jordi Garcia using the heel. Joseph Lopez looking to respond to that with some pizzazz of his own. Toward the right wing, chopping it inward, left-footed dribbling, still with 1 marker on him. That's a giveaway. Everybody holding their breath, everybody hoping for more. A misplay from the East Coast forward. As the ball is still live, of course. From the left-hand side it goes, cutting it inward, going for a shot. Hoping for a Lamine Yamal-esque finish, but it was very easily blocked. Ball still in play. Handball claimed by New York Renegades FC. Denied for now by the lead referee. And possession leans in favor of East Coast FC. Referee signaling such. East Coast FC, again, currently in 8th place or last place with just 1 point to its name. 3 points here could see a potential jump from last place to 5th place with 4 points. Again, it's a possibility. It's not confirmed. And of course, with a 5th place standing, that means it would be 1 spot away from a UPSL Northeast American Conference playoff. Again, the top 4 sides of both sub-conferences, the northern and southern counterparts, would face one another. The number 1 of the north will take on the number 4 of the south. And of course, you can do the math from there. The number 2 takes on the number 3, and so on. Meanwhile, New York Renegades FC currently has a ticket to the playoffs. That being said, however, it won't be satisfied with just any sort of finish. New York Renegades FC is looking for yet another consecutive regular season title, let alone postseason title. New York Renegades FC, with 4 matches played, which is an important facet that we have to take into account, has played only 4 games again, and has acquired 10 points across that span, in comparison to New York Empire FC in second place, who has played 6 and acquired 14, and New York Braveheart SC, who has played 6 and acquired 16. And interestingly enough, New York Braveheart SC is New York Renegades FC's next opponent, as East Coast inside the penalty area. His arm tugged off the post. Rebound! Oh! Somehow New York Renegades FC survives. Eric Edwards was beaten to the near post. He was sure that was going to trickle out of bounds. Somehow it bounces off the woodwork. Jory Garcia with a near empty goal, unable to complete that killing contract at goal, thanks to some defensive interference, some heroics from New York Renegades FC. Risky piece of play from New York Renegades FC, allowing this much space. East Coast FC, nearly a shot, a second. Eric Edwards with the save. I don't even think he meant that. Eric Edwards was just so well positioned that he was able to block it away. No reflex, pure positioning. Solid save from the Jamaican goalkeeper. East Coast FC with another offensive response. Jordi Garcia beaten by Eric Edwards and co. But it's another free kick and another yellow card. This one against New York Renegades FC. The referee allowing for advantage. I'm liking this arbitration, to be honest. He allows play to develop. And he's also not quick to forget when it comes to bookings. For now, East Coast FC has received more bookings, but both, I should say, squads have received multiple bookings, all yellow cards, of course. A free kick from, give or take, 39 yards away from goal. Swerving toward the far post, Eric Edwards allows for that ball to go out of bounds. A little too ambitious, although not the wrong idea. Maybe just a little too much juice. Goal kick played short and fast. OJ Bedward toward Cristian Garcia, who has Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo along that left flank. And we are now seeing Yo-Yo Alexander, the number 8. The Trinidadian midfielder, contributing not only defensively, but also in terms of possession, as he's onside, crossing it upon his first touch, bouncing off the head of an East Coast player. Second chance as Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo can recover this loose ball, dribbling outside the penalty area, dropping the shoulder on multiple occasions. Yo-Yo Alexander, no-look pass, back to Sebastian, the Colombian. Can't beat Yanez and company. In fact, that was Joseph Lopez with the defensive contribution. Behind Joseph Lopez would have been Yanez, as Jordi Garcia is offside. Oh, Jordi Garcia kept an eye on that back line of New York Renegades FC. And at the very last nanosecond, an offside trap was implemented. So both teams making each other sweat. Some good responses offensively, especially from East Coast FC, that in the first half wasn't too showy in that case. Certainly a better spectacle now from the attacking standpoint for East Coast Football Club. A clear sign of evolution as the game proceeds. As Toldo Rivas towards Sebastian, that ball goes out of bounds. Running out of space and running out of pace. It's a goal kick now for Mejia and co. And we went over the full roster for New York Renegades FC. Going over the full roster now for East Coast FC, it included the likes, or includes, I should say, the likes of Giovanni Astaiza. Yes, Giovanni Astaiza, Adiel Barrera, Gabriel Bustamente Castillo, Rafael Castro, Emanuel Reinaldo Centurión Arismende, Teófilo Chávez, Jordi Garcia, Jan Sebastián Goicochea, Delwin Hernandez, Joseph Lopez, Anthony Martinez, Dennis Mejia, Anthony Morales, Adrián Palomares Romero, Franklin Solarte, Junior Velázquez, Johan Vélez, and Olvin Yanez. As East Coast FC attacking that left-hand side on the edge of the penalty area, looking for a chance, looking for a shot, goes for it, Eric Edwards. Taking care of that ricochet, some firm hands, a lot of sound, a lot of noise, a lot of chaos. Sebastian, throw in toward Yo-Yo. As a pro Renegades chant emerges here in the crowd, East Coast FC responding with some applause for that defensive display. Yo-Yo Alexander lobbing it. Samuel Cáceres, an ex-Cosmos player as well. Cáceres, Mejia, some courageous goalkeeping. Very well read by Mejia, intercepting that ball perfectly. Oh, that's a nice punt as well. Jory Garcia losing track of the sphere as Samuel Cáceres goes back to Eric Edwards. Edwards, who has no white jersey pressing him, has all the time in the world to think about this pass. This one, a lot more aggressive than most. Not beating the back line of white, as we have made it well past the hour mark. In fact, we are officially in the 67th, now gone 68th minute, more or less. Back heel goes out of play. New York Renegades FC will burn 2 substitutions here. Cameron Beal exits the game for now, as well as Tolo Rivas. So interesting changes here. Entering the game with the number 25 on his back is Mauricio Puerto, the Honduran forward. So Mauricio Puerto enters alongside Henry Martinez. So in other words, it's a duo of Hondurans that enter the game for New York Renegades FC. Martinez with his first touch on the ball toward Garcia. Scanning quickly over his shoulder, Henry Martinez. Now looking to give it away. Eric Edwards can now steer this ball in whatever way he sees fit, as Cáceres laterals that ball. Martinez receiving it. That ball going out of play. Rances, who's been quiet in the second half so far. Rances in possession. And still inside the penalty area, clearance blocked. That's how the equalizer for East Coast FC was scored. It was a result of that. As O.J. Bedward going for a journey of his own. Center back on striker. Fakes the first shot, fakes the second, and counters once more a white brick wall. Oh, well, you never know with O.J. Bedward. 1 minute, he's beating you in the air. The next, he's beating you along the ground. A hungry center back. As that could be a risky header. Christian Garcia chasing it as well. Ball still kept alive. Joseph Lopez encounters Henry Martinez. As the away side spectators try to animate their respective team, as Joseph Lopez goes down complaining of a foul. 2 back-to-back fouls that the referee waves away for both teams individually. No controversy here at the moment, as Adrián Palomares Romero tried playing it forward. Eric Edwards Bouncing off the head of the forward. That's a lovely piece of play inside the penalty area. He still has the ball. East Coast! Goal! East Coast Football Club has taken the lead. Coming back from a 1-0 deficit. It's a lovely finish toward the top corner of the far post. No goalkeeper on earth is getting to that. A crisp finish on this cool Sunday night. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And one cannot deny that this second half, offensively, has been an East Coast one. A beautiful goal. As now New York Renegades FC has to play from once again behind in the scoreline. And it is now a matter of psychology here. Down 2-1. East Coast FC hungry to add on to the lead. Naturally. New York Renegades FC defensively into the penalty area. Oh, that was a dangerous moment. Eric Edwards shuffling inside his own 6-yard box. As once more a pro Renegades chant encounters a very lively away crowd. I can hardly hear myself think at this rate. This is a fantastic crowd. As this one is played toward the right-hand side. Henry Martinez. Cáceres lobbing it. Rances not chasing after it. Yanez can allow Mejia to take this goal kick and take his time at that. So if I'm not mistaken, it was Junior Velasquez who scored the goal, the Salvadoran midfielder. Junior Velasquez found the upper corner of the far post, the number 31 for East Coast FC. Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo loses the ball for now. Some calm defending from the Peruvian. As Adrián Palomares Romero once more making sure he's zonally marking correctly. This one swerving toward that far post. Samuel Cáceres thinking about the headlines as that ball makes its way well beyond the venue. Well, Samuel Cáceres is no stranger to scoring screamers, though that one he'd like to take back. We are inching closer and closer to the final quarter hour. Junior Velasquez with perhaps the winning goal here for East Coast FC. And we did talk about how momentum plays such a key role as O.J. Bedward plays it back to Eric Edwards. From Bedward to Edwards, Adrián Palomares Romero. The Peruvian encountering the Colombian Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. This ball inside the penalty area. Mejia can merely block the shot, taking his time before picking it up, burning some precious seconds. Oh, that could have been a deadly giveaway. Nearly picking his pocket. Joseph Lopez has some help from one of the latest substitutes as well, who I believe is Teófilo Chávez, another Honduran forward. Adrián Palomares Romero and Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo, both physically marking one another for the ball. At one point, nearly holding hands with one another. That's how physical this game is. It's a game of inches, as this one can lead into a breakaway. Chávez unable to get there as Eric Edwards intercepts. New York Renegades FC, who controlled spectacularly the first half, looking for an equal second half spell. Possession for East Coast FC, per the referee's words. New York Renegades FC. Now on the defensive end. Christian Garcia, Joseph Lopez. Garcia defending well. Ooh, Garcia with the extra kick, with the extra touch, as he stared down his opponent as well. Losing his composure. He had won the defensive duel already. That's just a yellow card of frustration. Garcia with the booking. And suddenly that one-sided booking ratio is starting to look more and more even between these two teams. And that's something that you could always expect from these East Coast FC games as of late. Aggression on the pitch can sometimes spill over, which you never want to see. But it's an inevitability when you adopt this playing style. New York Renegades FC still defending. Poked away by Christian Garcia. Adrian Palomares Romero, the Peruvian defender. With the throw-in, looking at Junior Velasquez first, instead playing it toward Chavez. Teofilo Chavez has to be careful not to commit an infraction, as Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo draws the advantage instead. Sebastian. The South American trying to steer it toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, if my eyes aren't mistaken. The number 11, who had an opportunity, two opportunities in fact, to score a goal himself. He does have an assist to his name. New York Renegades FC winning itself a corner kick. It started this second half quite well. 2 corner kicks in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And since then, not much has been produced to that level, that is. Corner kick number 3 for New York Renegades FC. In the second half, fancy flick of the heel, Mejia diving onto the sphere. And unfortunately for East Coast, I believe there might have been an extra piece of contact. An unintentional one. As the East Coast player is still down on the ground. In the meanwhile, this United Premier Soccer League Premier Division broadcast has been brought to you by Salt Athletic. Salt Athletic has made the Aircase the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag that blocks smell by using antimicrobial technology that makes for odor-free car rides and houses. Salt Athletic is offering the Game and Frame community an exclusive 10% discount. So scan the QR code on your screen and keep it fresh. Behind the camera is Roberto Estrada. I am Sean Cabrera. We both thank you for tuning into this transmission of the UPSL right here on Game and Frame, as New York Renegades FC threatening that back line of East Coast FC. Mejia picking it up finally with his hands. Rances scored the opener, the lead giver, in other words. East Coast FC closed the first half with an equalizer of its own after Jory Garcia had his first 2 shots saved, but the second one produced a ricochet, just fortunate enough for East Coast to bury it. And not too long ago, Junior Velasquez was able to etch his name into the scoreboard with a confident finish toward the far post, upper corner, upper 90, a OJ Bedward towards Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo. Sebastian against Adrian. Sebastian beaten by the Peruvian. If not Morales, actually. That looks like a 2, not a 27. So it was Morales who dealt with Sebastian in the one-on-one. Sebastian looking for a goal contribution, something that he always gets. Just look at last season, for example. Always getting involved somehow when it comes to goal scoring. 2-1 in favor of the away team. New York Renegades FC. has not lost at home this season. In fact, it's been quite a while since New York Renegades FC has lost at home. They tied against New York Empire FC, however. Up into the air, New York Renegades FC. Its chance denied. Jory Garcia muscling forward. That could be a booking. That should be a booking. Yo-Yo Alexander losing his cool as well. Jory Garcia asking for a booking in addition. And this is a passionate game, to say the least. Adrian Palomares Romero. The South American not taking this one. Instead, it will be Delwin Hernandez. Left-footed swerve. Just missing Chavez's head. Played forward, Henry Martinez. A good back pass toward Yo-Yo Alexander. As Rances opens some space up for himself. This one played toward the right-hand side. New York Renegades FC looking for a quick shot, and that snapshot saved by Dennis Mejia. Oh, hello! Hello, the referee has pointed to the penalty spot. That infraction at the very end of that service, or I should say, cross-gone shot, has resulted in now a penalty call in favor of New York Renegades FC. The arbitrator saw it as severe enough to issue a penalty. And for now, there's no conclave of referees here. In fact, the lead arbitrator, very confident in his decision, trying to explain as to what had occurred. A blink and you miss it moment, the lead referee clearly keeping his eye on the ball, on the entire panorama here. As now Mejia must be the guardian between the sticks. As Junior Rosero appears to step up to this ball. It's Junior Rosero versus Dennis Mejia. 12 yards separate what could be a New York Renegades FC equalizer. Rosero! Goal! Rosero once more coming to the rescue. How many times have we seen that throughout his career? It's an equalizer, 2-2, to the dismay of East Coast FC that was fighting so hard for those 3 points. 2-2 is the scoreline. Rosero sniping a confident penalty toward the bottom corner. Both crowds eerily silent during that penalty, even after the fact. As East Coast FC awaits the referee's permission to restart the game. Following this substitution, Union Velasquez, who had previously scored what could have been the game winner, is replaced for now. Replacing him is Giovanni Astaiza. Giovanni. As Delwin Hernandez switches toward that left-hand side. Joseph Lopez with a lot of space on that right-hand side. One quick scan, and Joseph Lopez could punish New York Renegades FC. He's onside, Junior Rosero. Ball never got to him, however. Yo-Yo Alexander, no look pass toward Junior. Junior toward Sebastian. New York Renegades FC. Only 5 minutes remain here, just about, in regulation time. This is not including additional time. Switch play, ball still live. Touch too strong. It's a goal kick for Dennis Mejia. Both teams giving it their all. It took a bit of a while for New York Renegades FC to offensively find its rhythm, but it found it. Again, the first half belonged to the Renegades. A good portion of this second half belonged to East Coast FC. But now that we are within the final 10 minutes, or more specifically 5 minutes, New York Renegades FC has suddenly found its rhythm. As O.J. Bedward tells Eric Edwards to take the free kick instead. Junior Rosero filling in that 9 role for now. Rances Reneao playing that right winger role. If not a front line of 4, now that I think about it, almost resembling a 4-2-4 formation, as Rances backtracks, shares the ball with the right winger, evades one challenge, overlapping, crossing it, corner kick for New York Renegades FC. Another dead ball situation, another corner kick for the home team in black. 2-2 is the scoreline. We are within the final 4 minutes and counting. That is without stoppage time, which I could only imagine would aggregate to 3 minutes or so. Right-footed serve, dealt with by East Coast. Henry Martinez. Claims of a handball denied by the referee. Advantage signaled for East Coast FC. Joseph Lopez unable to get there first. Sebastian backtracking all the way to Eric Edwards. The Jamaican. Ball out of play now. As of right now, we are within the final 3 minutes. Some heart-pounding 180 seconds of regulation time. That is for either team, regardless of one's affiliation. That equalizing penalty from Junior Rosero clearly took the wins from the East Coast FC sails, as the representatives of the South Shore here in Long Island, New York, not trying to concede a third. And for now, Dennis Mejia can take his time with this goal kick. It's a nail-biting affair here. New York Renegades FC in desperate need of those 3 points. 3 vital points for a regular season title. Junior Rosero onside, wrestling as well with Barrera, as Rances blocks the clearance. Within the final 2 minutes we find ourselves. Christian Garcia toward Henry Martinez. Back to Christian Garcia. His clearance blocked. Joseph Lopez, his chop intercepted by Henry Martinez. Henry Martinez. Oh, he's thinking about the shot himself, thinking about the space, cutting it outward inside the penalty area. Must make sure to stay alive here. Mejia, one glove, 3-2, goal! Rances to the rescue! 3-2 for New York Renegades FC. Finishing the rebound off Mejia's glove. A brace for the number 9. And a confident finish. New York Renegades FC, for the second time in this match, takes the lead, as we are now officially in the 90th minute. It's all a question of stoppage time. Rances with surely one of his happiest moments here. El Toro doing his job. 3-2 is the scoreline. East Coast FC trying to avoid a heartbreak. Fighting so well. Giving a scare, in fact, to the reigning champion, Rances. Thinking about the hat trick. Rances off the ball dribbling here. Rances thinking about the assist instead. Junior Rosero volleys it. Looking at that bottom corner, threatening it. Mejia knew it was going out of bounds. It's a question of stoppage time again, as we are past the 90th minute. No signal from the arbitration staff. Lobbed forward, Jory Garcia. OJ Bedward, the Big 12, impeding any progress. The referee taking a look at his watch once more. I imagine not too much time is left. Rances might have just scored the game winner here. Henry Martinez not going for that aerial duel, not trying to support his fellow black jersey. Last minute, last chance. Hernandez backtracking toward Adrian. Goicochea taking his time. We are already past the first minute of stoppage time. In fact, we are halfway onto the second minute of stoppage time. Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo has Junior Rosero toward the opposite flank. Sebastian cutting it inward. Instead, Adrian as well as Morales doing their jobs respectively. Mejia wasting no time, launching it quickly. Launching it toward the left wing, in fact. As that's Pacha doing his job. Referee signals advantage here. He was going to pause inside the penalty area. He goes down. The referee doesn't signal a penalty here. Another opportunity waved away by the ref. And the official indicates a goal kick. As Jory Garcia is still down on the ground, quick to pick himself right back up. Trying to draw the penalty. What could have resulted in an equalizer. One cannot deny East Coast FC playing with a fiery passion today, as Eric Edwards must be careful here. Burning too much time from a goal kick can result in an indirect free kick. Luckily for him, his goal kick makes it right on time. Henry Martinez unable to win the aerial duel. Joseph Lopez unable to get there first as well. Cristian Garcia bombing that ball toward the right wing. Henry Martinez, dangerous flick toward Yo-Yo Alexander. Yo-Yo, quick pass. Too quick, in fact, for his teammate. Should be a throw-in. And we are past the third minute of stoppage time here. Switch play defensively. Morales has Adrian right in front of him. Adrian Palomares Romero turning into an extra winger. Teofilo Chavez unable to get to the ball first. Hernandez, lovely first touch. Delwin off the torso of that New York Renegades FC player. I believe that was Jason Solano Green. As there will be an equipment change as well as personnel change. We are surely witnessing some of the final touches of the ball here, as we are about to cross the 94th minute, or 90 plus 4 if you want to think of it that way. Rances scoring the, for now, game winner in the 90th minute. We are past the 4-minute mark here of stoppage time. Both sides complaining about the additional time. East Coast FC, the referee, taking a peek at his watch. Mejia trying to attack that left-hand side. Innocent collision there between the two. Both going for the ball. Throw-in for, I believe, New York Renegades FC, if not East Coast FC. Referee overriding that decision. Quick throw-in. Back-to-back throw-ins for East Coast FC. We are inching closer and closer to the 95th minute, 90 plus 5. It's been a while since I've seen this much stoppage time in the UPSL. Surely one more touch. The referee instead indicates a victory for New York Renegades FC. Scoring the opener was Ramses Renao El Toro. Again, he found the back of the net in the first half. However, within the dying minutes of the initial 45 minutes, it was East Coast FC that found the equalizer as a red card is issued to, I believe, Goicoechea. And that's another match and another red card against East Coast FC. Discipline being a common theme here for the players in white today. And hopefully there's no further action or drama post-final whistle. It's another red card, and it's against the coaching staff here of East Coast Football Club, voicing his frustrations with the referee's calls as more and more bodies surround the referees. As now I think even the captains must intervene, separating the arguments, separating chippiness. As eventually all players are able to calm down. So 2 red cards post-whistle issued to East Coast FC. I believe the initial red card issued toward Goicoechea, the second one issued toward the assistant coach. As East Coast FC, despite this 3-2 result, should be proud of itself for going toe-to-toe truly with the reigning regular season champion, New York Renegades FC, giving, in fact, the players in black quite a fright. As finally things have started to cool down here, not only in temperature, but also in terms of perhaps passion, to put it diplomatically. As it is a painful loss for East Coast FC, who had the champs on the ropes. But it's New York Renegades FC that completes the remontada, as it's called nowadays, or as it's called in Spanish as well, a comeback. Again, Ramses El Toro Renao with the opener. The equalizer scored after a rebound following Jordi Garcia's 2 initial attempts, 2 saves by Eric Edwards in that sequence. It was 1-1 at the end of the halftime whistle. However, with roughly 25 minutes left in the second half, it was Junior Velasquez, that changed that scoreline to a 2-1 on the scoreboard in favor of East Coast FC. That being said, however, a sudden penalty call within the final 10 minutes of this match made it 2-2 when Junior Rosero sniped it toward that bottom corner past Mejia. However, it was Ramses El Toro Renao who once more got involved onto the scoreboard, making it 3-2, getting himself a brace in his long-awaited return back home. So again, El Toro doing his job, showing why he wears the number 9 on his back. And it's a well-fought, if not perhaps unexpected result, but still a win for New York Renegades FC, who today again was given a fright but was able to respond well. That is the most important part, the psychological aspect when you're down in the scoreboard, especially when you're at home. Again, it's such an important element. And luckily for the home side, it was able to find an apt and adept response. 3-2 is the final score line here in this Long Island venue in the UPSL Premier Division. However, do stay tuned for some post-match action. You are watching the United Premier Soccer League Premier Division right here on Game in Frame.
Quick release for Hernandez. You know Hernandez is going to get there. Got some work to do. It's one man taking on an army, and it is Hernandez. He took on hell with a squirt gun, and he quenched the flames. Justine Nunez Hernandez, an impressive stamp on the match.
Foxy. There's a shot, and Kazun beats it away again.
About it. They don't want to let this opportunity pass, not equalizing. Fake shot, fake. The third shot, low and a goal! A couple dummies and a low shot makes this game 1-1.
Right side is net. Can he bend it around the wall? He's gone for it, and it's tipped over the crossbar. Lovely fingertip save by Perez. Let's see if it's enough to stop them. Joe Holland. Once again, Perez called into action.
Now trot, cross. Oh my word! What a goal! What a team goal from New York International!
Back to the captain with a lot of space. Crossed inside, using his chest. Aristotle Zazulin to the rescue! As now his defensive expertise put to the test. Diaz trying to shield the ball away from Diallo. Diallo squeezing past. Still with the assist! Goal! South Bronx United!
The ball is back into play. Beautiful work, Winder with the nutmeg.
There's room to move here. This is Waring again. Waring puts it into the middle. Doggart! Doggart! They can't clear it off the line! Orson Doggart puts the finishing touch.
Shango can't quite keep it. Yo, pick it up. Dangerous area. Malachi with a shot. Beautiful save from the keeper.
Now he's on. Kamara's on sides. Kamara gets around the keeper. This could be it. Good finish. It's 2. That's the final whistle. Polonia seals the deal in the last kick of the game. What an effort there by Kamara.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The salt air case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and it helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
A quality highlight reel is crucial for college and pro recruitment. A lot of services offer generic solutions, but at Game & Frame we know every player is unique and needs a personalised approach to win over coaches. Our process is simple. We work with any footage, and if you need help finding your best plays, we'll review games for you. Once we've finished, you'll have a reel you can upload to any recruitment platform. We've helped hundreds of players get the attention they deserve, including placements in Division 1 programs. Scan the QR code or email us for a free consultation and start the journey to maximize your recruitment potential.
Quick release for Hernandez. You know Hernandez is going to get there. Got some work to do. It's one man taking on an army, and it is Hernandez. He took on hell with a squirt gun, and he quenched the flames. Justine Nunez Hernandez, an impressive stamp on the match.
14. There's a shot, and K-Zune beats it away again.
About it. They don't want to let this opportunity pass, not equalizing. Fake shot, fake. The third shot, low and a goal! A couple dummies and a low shot makes this game 1-1.
Right side is net. Can he bend it around the wall? He's gone for it, and it's tipped over the crossbar. Lovely fingertip save by Perez. Let's see if it's enough to stop them. Joe Holland. Once again, Perez called into action.
Now trot, cross. Oh my word! What a goal! What a team goal from New York International!
Back to the captain with a lot of space. Crossed inside, using his chest. Aristotle Zazulin to the rescue. As now his defensive expertise put to the test. Diaz trying to shield the ball away from Diallo. Diallo squeezing past. Still with the assist. Goal! Again, we are live here in Long Island, New York, and alongside me is, of course, the victorious side of New York Renegades Football Club, 3-2 against East Coast FC. Alongside me first is the captain armband wearer himself, OJ Bedward, the Big 12 as you're dubbed. So OJ, I think we got to talk about the psychological aspect of this game first. You wearing the captain's armband, you know most importantly how composure is a key facet to this game. How did that affect today's particular match, especially with that 1-2 scoreline against New York Renegades FC at one point?
Well, you know, first and foremost, we have to give God thanks for the victory. However, in the game, when we were down, the coach keeps saying, be patient, it's going to come, because as you see, we create a lot of opportunities. We were knocking at the door, so we know if we continue to remain patient and play to the philosophy of the team, we will definitely get the next goal. So, and that happened, you know, to our prolific goal scorer, Rancis, you know, but it was a very good game.
And continuing with the theme of composure, again, it was a very chippy game at one point that saw a handful of bookings as more and more minutes wound by, especially after the whistle, in which we had seen 2 red cards against the opposition today. How important was it to keep your cool, not only you specifically, but all your gladiators on the field today?
Yeah, definitely it was a crucial part of the game, you know, as you see, even after the game, a red card has shown, you know, so we had to be more professional in that aspect and know that, okay, we have to keep our composure, the game is still going on, anything could happen. If we got a red card, you know, the game is lost, you know, so we had to remain smart and we had to remain patient, and, you know, it worked out at the end.
You said it yourself, patience did in fact pay off. 3-2 with the final scoreline. OJ, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
And of course, you mentioned yourself, OJ, about the prolific goal scorer, Rancis Reneo El Toro. So of course, naturally, this was his, or is, I should say, his first game following his injury. Naturally, we want to know how he's feeling after scoring 2 goals. Rancis, acabamos de ver básicamente tu regreso después de tu lesión. Y hoy marcaste 2 goles. ¿Cómo te sientes ahora mismo?
Pues primero que nada me siento muy feliz y agradecido con Dios porque de eso es lo que viven los delanteros. El presidente me da la confianza, me entienden mucho los jugadores, creen en mí, entonces trato de hacer siempre mi trabajo para ayudar al equipo y me gusta siempre irme a casa con mi gol y gracias a Dios se me dieron 2 hoy.
So first he wants to say that he is not only ecstatically happy, but he wants to thank God himself. And he also wants to thank not only Coach Boris for always having that confidence in him, but also his teammates for consistently believing in him. And he's glad that he was able to deliver, as he always wants to do, a goal at home. But today, he got 2 to his name. Ahora, Rancis, vas a jugar también un partido esta semana contra Red Hook. Entonces, ¿cómo afectará esta calidad de partido, ofensivamente y defensivamente, cuando jugarán contra Red Hook?
La verdad que venimos mentalizados ya hace creo 3 semanas, venimos mentalizados contra el partido de Red Hook, Entonces, toda esta semana veníamos hablando también de que era muy importante para nosotros ganar hoy y ganar el siguiente partido del miércoles para ir con menos presión y llegar bien contra Breja, que es uno de los rivales buenos.
So I asked him how today's result, offensively and defensively, would affect the upcoming match versus Red Hook FC later this week. In fact, on Thursday, I believe, due to the makeup date. So Rances replied by saying that naturally today's game would affect the entire rhythm, that naturally they had gone weeks, I believe 3 weeks. Dijiste 3 semanas, ¿verdad?
Sí.
They had gone 3 weeks envisioning this game, mentalizing, if I'm allowed to make that word up, this sort of result, not only against today, but also against the upcoming opposition of Red Hook FC. And after that, of course, he did make a note, a special asterisk, I suppose, of New York Braveheart SC, one of the rivals, of course, of New York Renegades FC, and they will be playing in the upcoming match days themselves, and that will be arguably a title decider, and Rances knows it himself. But like he said, they've been envisioning this in their brains. They've been wanting this more than anything else, especially the positive result, and he's hoping to take away everything that was seen today, all these struggles and all these successes, into the Red Hook match. Rances, muchísimas gracias y felicitaciones.
Gracias, bro.
Cuídate. And now, of course, the head coach himself, Boris Linares. Boris, let's start today with what you saw encapsulated in today's overall fixture.
You know, I know they have talent and they have a team, and, you know, they come out and, you know, every team is playing us hard. So I know, you know, they're going to come out and going to play hard and, you know, try to, you know, beat us. You know, they had the result, and then I didn't like the fact that then they started defending and wasting time on a tie. I mean, I play to win. I don't care if I go home with the L. We're trying to win. That's the mentality we bring to the game. And fault me on it, hate me on it, I don't care. I mean, we're always going to try to win. If I had to go to a 3-man line, I was doing that. So I'm trying to win a game. I'm not trying to tie. So, you know, the message that I want to send out is, you know, I'm proud of all our boys, you know, because it doesn't matter, like, who I bring in, I have complete faith in them. And, you know, I have a tremendous bench that they're not bench players, but they believe in the project.
Right.
You know, and they believe in the project of what we've been and what we're trying to establish. You know, like I said to you from the beginning of the season, I know we have a bullseye on our backs, and you know what, we wear it with honor. Like I said, you want to come and take it then. You know, that's the mentality that we have as a group, as a team. And those that are with it, you know, they're with it. And, you know, anybody that comes into the game can make a difference. You know, Michi comes in. We don't drop our level. We just maintain our level. And we knew that, you know, a couple of breaks here, a couple of breaks there. You know, unfortunately, we saw a handball in there and we didn't get a call. You know, it's just, you know, that's football, you know, and you have to live with what happens on the field. But, you know, like I was telling them, let's be patient. It's coming. You know, we never give up on it. You know, there's some things, you know, we have room for improvement. And we've been working hard, believe me. Like this week, I was telling them this week is a very important week. This can make us or break us. And, you know, mission 1, part 1, done today. We wanted to get the result. We wanted the 3 points. And the whole thing that we wanted to do was just going with momentum because, you know, no disrespect to Red Hook, you know, I know they're going to come and bring it, so we have to go in there and just try to play hard and get the result. And then, you know, of course, the Clásico coming up against Braveheart, you know, I know that they have, you know, a tremendous team. I know they tied with Empire, but so did we. So we're basically, I guess, neck and neck on this. And then, like you said before, you know, it seems to be that those matches determine the winner of the division. But, you know, I don't have no animosity towards any team, but they got to understand my passion is for the team and what we're doing, you know. So, you know, I like to take the time to say I have no disrespect for any team. It's just my mentality and our focus is that we want to win, you know. Like I said, whatever we're doing, we're trying to just win. And, you know, hopefully, you know, thank God no one got really hurt. And we can go into Wednesday. Hopefully we can get a good result there. On the road, you never know. So, That's what we're looking at, and trying to improve. I make them work hard. We work hard. We train hard. But the mentality is there, and I think I'm almost getting to the point where I have the team just, functioning the way they need to.
So now, if I'm allowed to also pry specifically a little bit about the halftime break itself.
Yes.
I'm just wondering about the tactics, because there was an offensive change we had seen with
Yes.
Henry Martinez, Junior Rosero, Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. How did that all affect, especially the perhaps final 10 minutes of the second half?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like what I was saying is nothing against the starters were doing excellent, but the thing is like, I have the legs, I have the deep bench, and I have the ability to make those changes, and I know the level doesn't. And yeah, I tweaked it a bit, how we were going to be play positionally, to give us more chances going inside. Always looking for the result, and then we still got hit with a second goal anyway, and it happens, and we're trying to we're still trying to get that goal, get us going. But yeah, I tweaked it a bit, the positioning and the formation going up, and required it. The game required it, and I think it changed the game. We started getting even more possession, even more pressing them, and I know that they were tired, right. So that was the whole point of the changes that I made in succession. I made the changes to start pushing them back, and they kept on falling back, which was, they were playing to a counterattack, but then I put in Jason to give Samuel a break on it, because he's got even more speed and fresh legs. So I was anticipating the counterattacks would come, but with Jason Solano's speed, we were going to do fine. So that was my thinking, but my thinking is always try to win. I just try to eke out wins, get it however we can. We just got to push for it, so thankfully it worked out for us today. Thank you.
Of course, another collection of 3 points, shrinking that gap, of course, between New York Renegades FC and that always coveted first place, not too far away, especially with the match in hand. So again, this Red Hook game, like you said, and just as OJ Bedward had implied, as well as Rances Reneo, will be incredibly crucial. But like you also said, Coach, an all-in mentality alongside that fiery drive could drive Renegades itself into possibly success itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, and I know we got bullseye, and I know some teams hate me or whatever, but you know what, it makes for a good entertainment for the crowd. The crowd was into it. I know they brought some support over. If we have to be the villains sometimes, we'll be the villains. And again, no disrespect to them. I mean, I love it that everybody's level has been going up, and everybody's level in the UPSL is going up. So it's good. I think it's good for the league. I think it's good for us. We get pushed, and it's all right. That's the game. That's the game we want to play, and that's the game we want to participate in. And yes, the whole point, my mentality and the group of guys I have mentality is the game is not over until it's over, and what we want, we define ourselves as win. It's just that win-win. That's the game.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. So again, the final scoreline here is 3-2 in favor of New York Renegades FC. Rances Reneo with the opener. Likewise, it was East Coast FC that was able to capitalize off 2 Jordi Garcia rebounds, 2 saves, in other words, from Eric Edwards, able to make it 1-1 before the halftime whistle itself. However, into the second half, with roughly 25 minutes left in the second half itself, it was Junior Velasquez that sent a thunderbolt inside the penalty area into the far post, into the upper 90 of that second post, in fact. However, within the final 10 minutes, it was Junior Rosero that was able to convert a penalty following an East Coast FC handball, if I'm not mistaken. Junior Rosero, again, toward that bottom corner, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way to make it 2-2. However, in the 90th minute, it was Rances El Toro Reneo once again coming to the rescue to make it 3-2, his second goal of the evening, and to secure this home win. Now, of course, it is Mother's Day, so we once again want to send our warmest hugs to mothers, to maternal figures, whether that be older sisters, aunts, etc. Those important women in our lives. Specifically for me, it would be Karina, my mother. I love you very much. Te amo mucho, Karina. And behind the camera, has been Roberto Estrada. I have been Sean Cabrera. Happy Mother's Day, as the final scoreline here in this United Premier Soccer League Premier Division bout is New York Renegades FC 3, East Coast FC 2. Thank you very much, and have a good night.